Looking to start or grow your own local marketing agency? It's an almost endless sea of options, but we're here to help. It's time for you to become a shark. Welcome to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. It's time, the moment you've been waiting for. After 167 agonizing hours, they've returned. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun on planet Earth. Broadcasting live from their island retreats, smack dab in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, with an enormous amount of aloha spirit. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. So I'm tightening up that intro there, Nick. Tightening it up. I can't hear you, Nick. I can't hear your sound.
Oh, what an introduction. It's amazing. I feel like I feel like a rock star.
Yeah, well, it's only been 4 weeks and I finally figured out that we could have the starting slide up there. So, past couple weeks I've been hiding off screen. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, we all start somewhere, I guess, right?
Yeah. Hey, aloha, everybody. Welcome, Janice. Welcome, Dorn. Dorn said that intro still cracks me up. Yeah, it cracks us up too.
Yeah. Hey,
well,
Janice.
We have a couple of big things going on. I see people are still coming on to the live. So let me bring you guys up to speed. So we had a reshuffle in our regularly scheduled programming for today's live. We had the opportunity to bring on a very special guest to talk to you guys. So we wanted to take that opportunity because I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of it. So because of that, we've had to reshuffle a few things. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We are going to announce the challenge winners and all that stuff on a special live. So we're going to do a special live sometime over the next few days, maybe beginning of next week. We just want to be able to really focus on those winners and celebrate their success. And because of our shuffle around in the programming today, we weren't going to have a lot of time to do that. So bear with us. We will get that special live show out to you guys. Like we'll set it up with Cameron after we're off with this and let you guys know when it's going to be. So sorry about that. It just this opportunity for our guest really, we wanted to take advantage of this because you guys are going to love it. So anything else you want to say about that, Nick?
When should we do the announcements?
Well, I think we should just get with Cameron and we'll pick a day over the next few days. We'll just post in the Facebook group and we'll do it. We'll let everybody know.
All right. We're going to and just so you guys know, we have all the winners. We have all that set up. But like Tom said, we do want to celebrate it a little bit more. We just want to be able to do it.
Yeah,
so.
We didn't want to just kind of cram it in today while we were trying to get to our special guests and all that stuff. So we're going to do that as well. And also, too, I did just want to take a moment before we start today's live because here, let me share my screen. Over this past week, we did learn about one of our very dedicated sharks who was always willing to, to share his information and all that stuff. Ron Cunningham, he passed away, and we got that information. We've reached out to his family. We really appreciate and seeing all of the great comments and kind wishes and everything to Ron. For those of you that have been in our community for a while, Ron was an amazing contributor to our group. We even had him on a couple of trainings. We did a hot seat with him one time for Agency Growth Machine. He's doing really great there. We had a hot seat with him on a Shark Alliance call as well. And so we're working on getting those trainings. We're going to post one of them in the Facebook group for you guys as kind of a remembrance. And we just wanted to take a moment here, just have a quick moment of silence for Ron before we start this live show. And, he was a super great guy. I talked to him several times and always willing to share what he was doing and what he was having success with and struggling with. So we'll just take a quick moment of silence and then we will get back to our regularly scheduled show here. All right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of a shock for us. So really, again, it was really awesome to see all the outpouring of support and appreciation for Ron and everything inside the group. So way to go, guys.
Yeah, he was he lived in the Philippines, and he helped so many people down there, so many kids. He was like a big part of the community down there. And
yeah, he did a lot of charity work.
He did a lot of charity work.
Like building a school or something. He was doing a lot of things there. So
yeah,
he'll be dearly missed. So our condolences to Ron's family, and thanks again to all the Sharks for the support there. All right, so let's talk about what we've got lined up today. So I think, Nick, what we want to do is we're gonna do some Shark shout outs from the group, and then we're gonna talk about our member of the week, and then we're gonna get to our special guest. So yeah, great comments coming in. Awesome, guys. Awesome. All right, so let's start here. Let me share my screen again.
There's been a lot of action going on in the Facebook group this last week. I mean,
there has been,
and I haven't been able to be as active myself. And when I go in there, I'm like, holy crap! There's so much activity going on in here. It's just, I love it. It's not. I mean,
it's amazing to watch. I mean, it makes me feel good every time I go in that group and see everybody's commenting and supporting each other and all that stuff. So awesome. Well, let's start with our very first Shark shout out. He's no stranger to the Shark shout outs. It's James Healy. So James said he just got back to MT after a week in Minnesota at the family cabin, helping the folks out with some end of the season tree removal. Ooh, the only one that can work a chainsaw. Now that's a skill. He's got 2 new clients, a website, and a new podcast. Both recurring revenue. Love that recurring revenue, which, by the way, is something we're going to talk about with our special guest, building recurring revenue. So important to building what I would call a durable business. And he said he loves being able to work from anywhere with a laptop and Wi-Fi connection. Super grateful. So big shout out to James. And he's been super active in our group and doing a lot of stuff. And really interesting to see how he's using his, how he's leveraging the podcast and all that stuff with the local marketing. So really awesome to see that.
Yeah. And amen to that. Working from a laptop and a internet
and recurring revenue, right?
Yeah.
Everybody likes to get them some recurring revenue. As our special guest, we'll tell you guys, it's the way to go. It's the way to go. So congratulations, James. Our next Shark shout out goes to Jose. And Jose says, I just launched my directory site last week. I had a few people sign up for their free listings. Cool, it's working, I thought. Then this weekend, I had someone reach out to me looking to build them a new e-commerce website and also manage their Facebook page for children's clothing and toy store. It says, I'm blown away and a little overwhelmed, as well as I've never done a full-on e-commerce site, only smaller 3 to 4 page sites. Looks like I've got some learning to do. Any tips, advice, welcome. So first, Jose, congratulations, man. That is freaking awesome. That just goes to show you, Nick, the power of the credibility and authority that's kind of built in to that agency growth machine model, right? Those influencer sites, like people see those and they know you did them, like end of story for if you can build a website or not build a site,
It's so powerful. It's crazy. Like we've been living in this weird time where tourism has been locked down. Our economy in Hawaii has been a little, a lot slower than normal. But as we approach this new deadline of things opening back up with this pre-testing, it's like the AGM. I mean, we've been having activity with our Hawaii Thrive site a lot leading up to this, even with all things considered. But now that it's opening back up again, it is crazy. Like people are responding. Like we sent out one email the other day and we got like 9 responses. Like,
wow, that's amazing.
It's crazy. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so powerful, just again, having those easy conversations, a way to have those easy conversations coming in for you. So yeah, that's
well, and another interesting note for you guys about our special guest, what we're going to be talking about with him and how he builds his recurring revenue is a really natural transition from agency growth machine and using that as your kind of foot in the door to offer this service and build that recurring revenue. So you guys are going to be excited to hear that. I hope I'm wetting your whistle for the special guest out there. You guys are going to love this. So awesome. Jose, that's amazing. I know Nick is not really sure what he's doing back there, but I'm going to move on to the next shark shout out. So our next shark shout out goes to Jacqueline Heath, our friend from across the pond in the UK, where I know that they've been experiencing a lot of this pandemic stuff really hard over there, but she has been like crushing it during this time. And this post, I'm not going to read all of this, but Jacqueline has been moving through our path to six figures, right? And so she's going to move from bull shark to whale shark, which for those of you that don't know, in our path to six figures, when you start getting up in those levels, there's certain income requirements and client requirements that we want to verify before we grant those badges, right? To make sure that people are actually doing what they say they're doing, right? And Jacqueline is absolutely doing that. And so I'll let you guys go in the group and read this post, but this is her feedback and input on what it takes to move from up through those levels. And there's a ton of super great information in here. And this post is in the group, so you can go in there and check it out. Let me see if I can just pick this out. So one of the things Jacqueline said at the end, she said, look, my experience of the bull shark level is that it's been the hardest level so far. It's taken me over 6 months to work my way through it and get comfortable with the ideas behind it, but it seems to be the level that has brought the greatest reward. And I think that's a great excerpt from this, because Jacqueline is doing something that Nick and I have been talking about a lot, right? Like Jacqueline has made a commitment to show up every day and work on her business. And she hasn't really put like a time limit on it. Like so many people, come into wanting to build a business or make extra money, and we put these crazy, unrealistic timeframes on what we're doing. Like, oh, I need to do it in 7 days. I need to do it in 14 days. Like if I don't have success in 30 days, then I'm just, I'm moving on to something else. And it's like, that's just so you guys know, that's crazy. Like you need to just make the commitment to get up and work on your business every day and keep moving forward, no matter how long it takes. And the people that do that are the people I really see having the success. And Jacqueline is a fantastic example of that. Just relentless, get up every day and work on her business. And it was really interesting because we talked a little bit about this last week, Nick, but once Jacqueline started getting a little bit of traction, she got hit with 2 job offers that before she was growing her business would have been like her dream jobs. And and I have to give her huge credit for this, she turned them down because she wanted to focus and continue to build this business on her own. And that's a scary thing to do. And it takes a lot of resolve and guts to do it, but she did it. And, she's seeing the rewards from it. So way to go, Jacqueline.
Congratulations, Jacqueline. Crushing it.
Yeah, really awesome. Our next shark shout out goes to Shannon. Shannon P, man, I was just thinking about Shannon the other day. Shannon said he did this daycare site 2 years ago with the Roofer Roundup theme. He said it's such a beast of a web theme. He loves it. He sent out an email to the owner a couple months ago. He hadn't spoken to him in months just to touch base and see how he's doing. There was some unfinished stuff on the site, but I didn't want to come off with that at first. I didn't hear back from him until today. So the owner called him up tonight and asked me to add a FAQ page, finish the employment online payment, meet the staff, all these things. They want to hit it hard with an updated website and local marketing. And he said, look, if you have previous clients that just kind of went dark, I would touch base with them, maybe not come off as salesy, but just see how they're holding up during these crazy times. Maybe they're in need of your service. And that is a really great piece of advice. And as you guys know, Shannon uses the influencer sites. And again, another one who's out there crushing it with it. But really awesome to see that, Shannon. Congratulations on bringing them back in the fold. And such a key point, right, Nick? Not to forget about those people you've done things for in the past.
Oh, yeah. I'm going back. I'm, with, there's different grants that are being offered right now for businesses in Hawaii to, quote unquote, retool and bring their business online, which for us means building websites, SEO, running ads, all the things that businesses normally weren't doing that they could be doing, or they maybe were doing some of these things, but they want to do more. And the government is offering them money, stimulus money, to take their business online. And that process actually requires them, in order to get that money, they need to quote. And so we're going back to all our old customers and saying, hey, you have access to anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. And if you want, we can help you spend it and reinvest it into your business. And so we're going back to everybody right now, all our old customers, and telling them, this is what you have access to. And I was actually I stepped away for a minute. You might have noticed that. And Elle was just telling me that we already had some people call us this morning asking for us to help them create quotes so they could access some of that money, which just means they're going to give it to us, right? They're going to give it to us, and we're going to, do SEO for them. So, yeah. And Shannon was telling me about, I love how Shannon uses like our evergreen strategies, like, roofer roundup, all those things. And he just continues to go back and, he has like the war chest, and he knows how to utilize each piece really well. So he's always talking about that. And yeah, great job, Shannon.
Yeah, awesome work. And our final shark shout out. Look at this. Mr. Tim Cooper sporting his new Offline Sharks merch.
Look at that.
Nick's
We got the same shirt on right
now. Yeah, loved it. So congratulations. Tim was our member of the week last week, and that was the special gift he got. So looking good, Tim. Looking good.
Looking real good.
Yeah. Speaking of member of the week, we give out a member of the week every week for someone in our group that's the most engaged, right? Who is the most engaged? Oh, hold on. Let me make sure I have this person pulled up here. Oh, yep. Well, it's hard to get on the, here, let me make this a little smaller. I want to be able to get, oh, that's not going to work. Technical difficulties, Nick. Technical difficulties. Well, we're just going to do it this way. Anyway, all right. Here we go. All right, we're going to share my screen. Our member of the week this week is... Dun, 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 dun. We need a sound effect for that. Mr. Matthew Pape. I'm assuming Matthew is not the one in the bunny ears.
Yeah. All right,
I love
Matthew.
this picture. What a great picture. So, Matthew, congratulations, my friend. You are member of the week. Look at that. Get some, we have fancy special effects here. So, again, we give out the member of the week for the person the most engaged, that comments, that posts, that shares all their stuff. So, Matthew, congratulations. Someone from our team is going to reach out to you. We're going to get a special gift set up for you. So, be looking out for that. And, yeah, super excited. Way to go, Matthew.
Congrats. And thank you, Matthew, for helping. I know you've been helping a lot of people out in the group, and, it really shows. And that's why you're member of the week. So we appreciate you, man. And I know the other Sharks do as well.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome. All right. So, Nick, real quick, I'm just going to, I forgot at the beginning, I'm going to just mention the book I'm reading this week, and then we're going to get our special guest out here so we can start talking about recurring revenue and all that stuff. I want to get to that. So I'll keep this really quick. So, this week I've been reading another book that's related to NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And it's been a very interesting read. It's by a guy named Robert Dilts, and it's called Sleight of Mouth, The Magic of Conversational Belief Change. And there are a couple of really good things I've already gotten out of this book, just so you guys know, that relate to, that you can use in your agency and what you're doing with getting clients. One is he's got a section in here that is about values and criteria. And he shows you how to position your language to ask questions of somebody so that you can really discover what is valuable to them. Now think about this. If you're new and you're just trying to start an agency, right? Like, one of the things we've recommended before is you reach out to some business owners and just ask them, what they're struggling with, what they could use help with. But that's kind of generic. So he lays out a process where you can actually ask them questions about their business, and the way they answer tells you what's valuable to them, like where they're placing that value. And then there are follow-up questions you ask, because sometimes someone will say, I value let's just use fitness as an example. Somebody might say, I value, my time, but they may have another value that's more important to them. Like maybe they value, making sure their family's provided for more than they value saving their time, right? So he lays out a process and a way you can structure questions that reveal that kind of hierarchy of values that people have. And I found that to be extremely valuable. But the book itself is really just about how your language affects your beliefs and the way that you perceive things. And that is another, I think, critical thing, because I've been a big proponent of changing your language. Like, I think the way you talk to yourself and to other people directly impacts the success you can have. So, I try to do things with my language, things like I never say no problem. I always say like, it's my pleasure. Like there's just little things like that I picked up in the corporate world. But this book talks about those things, and really, really interesting. It can be a little heady at times, but it's a really interesting book. And those sections on the value criteria is really good as well. So you guys can check out all the books we recommend. You go to offlinesharks.com/books. This one's called Slide of Mouth, The Magic of Conversational Belief Change. I think you guys will really enjoy it. And with that, Nick, why don't you tell our sharks about our special guest, and let's get him out here. I know he's patiently waiting in the background.
No, I think he's like checking all of his different merchant accounts and tallying up all of his revenue, just making sure all the checks and balances are going down. But yeah, I'm excited to bring him on because it's something that I'm very passionate about. It's a strategy that I know works very well. We're implementing it every day for the last few years. And so, by the way, who was on the training on Wednesday that we had with Fusion, with the team at Fusion? Put a 1 in the comments if you were on that training, because we actually, the book that Tom just mentioned, we had, this training was so awesome. We had a like real live case study call where we talked about some of that stuff, right, Tom? Yep. we listened in. We were like a fly on the wall in the office with the team as they had a call with a prospect. And I don't know a lot about NLP. I'm learning here, but correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, that was some of the stuff that was going on in that call, right?
It was, yeah. Like some of the way they phrase things and the specific questions they asked. Definitely. Yeah.
So number one, you guys, that training we had on Wednesday was a lot different than any other training that we normally do, because it really was like a different type of content where you had case studies. We did like a director's cut, you could call it, where we talked about training. We showed you the training. We paused the training. We broke it down. We talked about it. We turned it back on. This section, this is what happened. This is why he said this, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a really great call, and it was so good. We wanted to bring back Mr. Dan Anton, who is one of the members of the team there. And as you all know, I'm very passionate about SEO, and so is Dan. There he is. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Aloha, Dan.
How's it going?
Welcome.
Fantastic.
The production value on this is pretty damn good, Tom. I don't know if you're not, but like the special effects of the member of the week, that was pretty tight. And the intro, I was like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. Well, we actually, Dan, we had you on here maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago, actually, right?
Yeah.
So since then we've stepped it up a notch.
Oh yeah, since then I felt like I was walking onto the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
You'll get your bag of swag.
Uh,
In a week or so.
Well, yeah. So Dan is actually in Puerto Rico, right, Dan?
Yep. Yeah. Moved here about 5 years ago now.
5 years ago. And so for those of you that don't know, Dan has maybe Dan, maybe you could tell us a little bit about, what you're doing, your business, and, how long you've been doing it, that kind of thing.
So for everyone on the call who doesn't know me, I started this I started doing it 100% for myself full time at 2011 timeframe. I was in the military for almost 10 years prior to that. Got out, decided to figure out something online, had some success in college doing arbitrage stuff. So I always knew there was a possibility there for stuff. Started creating affiliate sites AdSense site, started making a little money, started seeing opportunities for services. So then I had kind of like a technical background in college with computer science, and hired a guy to make some software for me. That software really took off, and I just kept reinvesting really in myself and new ideas over and over again. And more recently, like for the last 5 years or so, really focused on my agency, because with that, I really saw like a real solid foundation for like a real business. You know, I felt almost like a hobbyist prior to that, making a little money here and there and everything, but nothing was rock solid. So started the agency and just really systemized to the point where, you know, I could outsource a great deal of it and still kind of guide the direction of the business without being superly involved in the day-to-day of it.
Yeah, and I think that's key and so important. You know, you mentioned being able to systemize and outsource. So you guys, for those of you that don't know, Dan is part of a group for that. When I first got my start, it was actually pretty similar. I kind of messed around with AdSense for a little bit too, Dan, with a friend of mine my friend had a site that had AdSense, and that's where my mind kind of opened up to like, oh, wow, you can get paid without having to, you know, hammer some nails or turn some wrenches and something.
Yeah.
And so that started to put some light bulbs out there for me. But you know, Dan's part of this group that when I had that transition to a few, you know, big aha moments and made the decision coming up on 4 years now to start implementing search engine optimization for my own business and for my customers, I actually got a lot of that information from this group, you know, from Dan and his colleagues. And so, you know, coming full circle, being able to interconnect and get more information, learn more about what they're doing firsthand, like actually being able to communicate with each other, you know, become friends over the last, you know, pretty much year now, and see what they're doing and look at how they're continuing to build and grow their business. I get like a baseline for myself. Like, I mean, selfishly, I love to see what they're doing behind the scenes, because I get to put myself up to it and like adjust if I need to, and I always need to. So it's cool to, you know, I really appreciate you coming and sharing, you know, the information that you have with us, and especially on the call the other day, because there's just so much value in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always fun. You guys have such a great audience. You know, we always say, you know, amongst each other in the Fusion and OMG group and Traffic Tsunami, we talk about, man, the offline sharks, they have such a great community. They always bring it. Like everyone is super energetic and ready to just get, like everyone's out here. I don't know, like people are whale sharks, people are bull sharks. Like, how do I get to be a megalodon shark? Actually,
you are actually.
You are. You are.
Okay.
You fit all the criteria.
That's so Dan, that's a great segue into this. So Meg Shark is verified $100,000 per year coming into your business. Okay. So that's the Meg Shark. The whole path to six figures, this level system that we're talking about, it basically walks somebody step by step from having no clients to making 6 figures. And so you're clearly a Meg Shark. You have a healthy business that's actively growing. And
no, I like that. I like that. It kind of holds people accountable to a degree, because, and you guys mentioned this earlier, it's really about showing up, right? And just putting in the consistency. Like there's really not too many secrets to life except being consistent. Same with working out, with like, you know, your diet, how you take care of yourself, how you treat your business. Are you showing up every day? Are you putting in the work? And you do eventually start to see it pay off. And there's not a set timeline for that. I think, Tom, you mentioned this, right? Like there's not you can't say, all right, 3 months, I didn't get to, you know, I'm disappointed now, I didn't do it and I'm done. Right. You have to be fair to yourself. You know, obviously still hold yourself accountable, but you also have to give yourself a little leeway if you're still putting in that time. So I think the fact that anyone's doing it and they're committed to doing it, that's most of it right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was just talking to somebody the other day and I was telling them, they were like, well, what's the difference, you know? And I was like, you know, one of the differences for me was that, like, when I had a job, when I was in the restaurant business and I was trying to start my business on the side, like I was never late for my job, right? And when I had a task to do at my job, I always got the task done because that was my job, right?
Yep.
That was bringing in the money. But when it came to trying to get my business going on the side, like I was always putting things off, like, oh, I don't feel like doing that today. Like, it was a constant like reshuffle, like never sticking to my commitments with that. Right. And it wasn't until I started treating, I mean, this sounds crazy because you want to be an entrepreneur to not have a job, but like the kind of backwards part of that is you have to treat it like a job. Like you have to make commitments to yourself and you have to show up to them and you have to do those things. So
that makes sense. Yeah, it's just you have to treat it seriously because, like you said, it's all about putting that work in. And even now, I'm still a student of that practice because I would find for a while I would do what I wanted to get done for the day, but then I would put off the hardest thing until the end, and I'd get to it and like, let's just drag that over to the calendar one day. And like that, I noticed the pattern of that happening. And it's funny, I was actually talking to Joe Marfolio, one of the coaches in the program, and he was telling me about this book, Eat the Frog. And it's all about, I forget the author, but it's all about doing the hardest thing you have to do all day. So if you had to eat a frog, that'd be like arguably the worst thing you have to do all day. You do it, you get it over with, and now the rest of it is just kind of cake.
Yeah, I think that's Spencer Tracy.
I think
Yeah. That's a great book about getting stuff done. Well, and I'm sure like your military training like helped you immensely, right? Because you were an Army Ranger, like that mindset stuff, and just like one of the things I've been doing over the past 2 or 3 months is I've been doing these military style workouts. I like to get that in wherever I can, just to show off. So anyway, but like I undertook those things not because I wanted to do the workouts, but I wanted the mindset part of it, right? Like I did it as like I just needed to show myself that I could attempt those things. And sometimes I'm successful on them and sometimes I'm not. Like I was joking with my wife. It's like, I usually look at the workout for the day and I'm like, oh, this seems a little too easy. Like, I'm probably going light. Like, I should step it up a notch. And then after like one round, I'm like laying on the ground, like, oh, make it stop, go get the car, drive me back home. But yeah, I just got to get over that stuff.
Nice.
I feel like, I think I felt like that when I was first starting to build my SEO business. Seriously. Yeah. And maybe some of you can relate to that, where we all know that SEO is a wildly profitable business, right? We all know that. I mean, it's no secret. However, maybe some of you can relate to trying to get started with it and not really figuring out exactly what to do, or not being able to see some success come in for yourself, right? There's a lot of information online about SEO, and maybe you guys could put a 2 in the comments if you've ever had that you've come across some information online, maybe some blog posts or a podcast or some information. It's usually free, right? There's no shortage of free information about SEO online. The problem with that stuff is it most of the time doesn't work. I've found that 90% of the time doesn't work because it's outdated. It doesn't get updated. It takes time to implement SEO, as we all know. And by the time you implement that stuff and you're kind of waiting to see what happens, you're implementing it on your own site. You guys can probably relate to this. You do some SEO from a blog post you found somewhere to your website, and you go to Google and you're checking your rankings every day, and you're expecting to see your website or your client site. You're expecting to see them pop up to the first page, right? And you're sitting there and you're wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? Why is this happening? Why am I not ranking for these terms? Or why is my client not ranking for these terms? And it's, we've all been there. And like Tom said, he's on the floor, like, from these workouts. I mean, I felt like that for probably the first, I don't know, a while. Actually, I can tell you what changed that. What changed that was being able to have access to information from people that were actually doing the things that they said they were doing and testing them. And then they were testing them. And once they verified that it worked, then they shared it. Then they talked about it, which is, again, this is part of the group that Dan is a part of, which is why, it's so important for him to be here, because then maybe you could speak to that a little bit, Dan, about like testing, like what you guys are doing from the day to day to figure out what's working and how you curate it and talk about it to your members.
Absolutely. I mean, at this point, we have so many things in place that testing is just happening automatically now because we have literally thousands of sites that are testing specific things in the algorithm to see if there's a rank fluctuation. Why is it happening? Is because a certain factor is being weighed more heavily than another now, right? We're serving so many clients that if something does adjust also in the algorithm, we can see, okay, it affected these guys, but not so much these guys. Ultimately, though, everything that we teach and that we practice, it's all foundational. There's no like tricks and like gimmicks that aren't going to last, right? It's not like we're doing stuff that's going to work a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden we tank a client site. To me, that'd be one of the worst things to do because it's not even my site, right?
Right.
Like, so I certainly don't want to hear a client with that sob story. And I know they've gone through a lot of them through hell and back with other digital agencies, the dirty dinosaurs, as we call them on the Fusion webinar. And that's so true because we see that all the time. It's like, and even on that call, Nick, right? You heard the guy was talking about, we've tried this before and it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
He was convinced it just doesn't work. That SEO couldn't work for him.
Yeah. Well, Eric was talking about that's like his favorite thing that he likes to hear from people. I think that was the thing because it's funny that he said that because I also feel that way and pretty much always have that line come in on any call. And that's just what I play off of so much, right? I tell them, we get most people come to us because they're not coming off a home run from working with some marketing company, right? They come to us because they're trying to find somebody else that's going to answer an email or pick up the phone if we call them or respond, right? Somebody that's not going to go dark. And maybe that's NLP, I don't know. But when you play to that, like you're going to be different, they're like, we've been looking for you. We've been looking for you. And so
most of these local businesses, a lot of times you're talking to the business owner himself or herself. So you don't need to be this slick sales guy and act like you're like, the most top professional wearing a suit tie person on the planet. If you're a human to them, like a real person they can relate to, that's going to go a long way. And more often than not, they might respect it more. And then you can explain and you come from a position of, look, we're not some massive marketing digital agency. We are a boutique agency, but with that being said, we run lean. And because of that, we are in the trenches day in and day out, and we actually focus on what is working to fulfill for you versus focusing on our sales team and just pumping numbers in through the door. Because I promise you, that's what most of them are doing. So then they say, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? So when you start talking in those terms, you come a lot closer to a sale.
Yeah, you really do. And you guys have put a name to the beast. You call these big agencies the dirty dinosaurs, and I think it's such a great name because and so for those of you that don't know what a dirty dinosaur is one of those huge agencies out there. I could say a few names. I'm not gonna say a few names, but they have tons of local businesses on monthly retainer plus contracts, right? They lock you into a 1 year, 2 year, lifelong contract. And, a lot of people, when they get out of that contract, they're like the handcuffs are off. Let's go find somebody else. Right. And that's, the same situation. We were locked into a contract for a long time and now we're not. And we just want to work with someone directly and feel confident and safe.
Yeah. And that's part of how we frame the Fusion sales model too, is that, look, we don't lock you in the contracts because we want to earn your business every single month. And by doing that, we just bill you month to month. And, that immediately is like, wow, you don't put us in a contract. It's funny because when my now wife, when we were just dating, her father was a lawyer. He's retired now recently. So, and we got to talking about, he was with a dirty dinosaur, right? And I was just like, wow, they're really charging you a lot. I'm like, God, I was like, I could do it for a quarter of that if you really wanted, And I would do that. And then I helped coordinate the piece with the dirty dinosaur. I won't name who they are. He was a lawyer though, so just remember that. And they held his website ransom. He had to pay something like $3,000 for the site. Meanwhile, mind you, he's already been with them for 2 years, and they weren't going to give him his website.
I feel like I know this dirty dinosaur. Oh, I really do. Because I had an immigration lawyer that I had to battle this dirty dinosaur with. Yeah. And so they're like a legal, they go after the legal industry, right? Yeah. And they do the website hostage. They do the SEO hostage. I bet
they're really good at the hostage situation. I had to negotiate the hostage, but It was not pretty.
Man. Well, so you and for those of you that are have listened into some of my case studies, right? Because Dan, one of the things that I like to do is I like to do the same thing as you guys, obviously, call customers, record the call, share it with the sharks, let them know like this is what I've said, this is me getting shut down, this is me getting a close, this is me, whatever, because it's so helpful, it's so beneficial. What you just said about the contracts, right? You guys have listened to my case studies. I say the exact same thing. There's so many nuances to what I do, to what they do. And the reason is because it really works. And one of the things that I wanted to speak with you guys about this program that we're talking about, Fusion, is what's included inside of it, because it is literally like, and I hate using the word blueprint because it's used so widely in like internet marketing, but it literally is the blueprint that I've been using in my business. And, I'm excited to be able to share it with you guys. So Dan, maybe you could show them that outline that I was basically drooling over when you showed it on the training the other day.
It's so funny when you did that in the training, Dan. Nick texted me and he was like, "Oh my God, that is sick."
I want that. I need that.
Like, yeah.
Let me figure out how to share this.
Yeah. Do you see a little share screen button at the very bottom, like next to Cam and Mike?
All right. Where did StreamYard go? I lost it.
No worries. Somebody said, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, every single day."
There you go.
Yeah, that's another. Yeah. How do you? Well, and that book, Eat the Frog, is by Brian Tracy. Somebody just said Spencer Tracy was an actor. Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy's the guy that wrote Eat the Frog.
Okay,
Gotcha.
I had other tab. I have too many tabs open, guys.
No worries.
All right, so I've
We'll
got
suffer from that.
share screen.
Yeah, you'll probably have to like authorize it.
Oh yeah. Nick, is it okay if I put the link to the Fusion training we did in there? Or you want to wait and do that here in a minute?
Yeah, let's hold off for a minute, because I want you guys, when you go to that link, I want you to actually watch the training. And
yeah.
Before you do that, I want you to see what Dan's going to show you in a minute here, because what I was talking about, implementing SEO from wherever you find these unverified sources, this is the difference, right? This is the difference. What you're going to see here is a verified blueprint, something that's been battle tested over and over and over to see what works for not only themselves, but for their customers as well. And, lots of customers, not just, a couple of people. So, having access to that and following that, you're able to have more confidence.
Yeah. I can hear you, Dan.
All right. For some reason, this browser froze on me. It's kind of weird. Let me just try to restart this, and I'll pop right back in.
Yeah, and for those of you asking, we do have a link to the replay. We're going to put that there in a minute. But like Nick said, we want you, when you go there, to watch the train, because the training was, I thought it was really great. It's very different from what we normally do, like we're breaking down that call and everybody talking about their input and what's going on and all that stuff. And like somebody mentioned early on in the comments, it's really the way that call started. You never, ever would have thought it was going to turn into a sale.
No.
Right? Like the way the call starts, you're just like, and it made me feel good about sometimes the way my calls start, because my calls start like that sometimes, and I think I'm doing something wrong, but the reality is I wasn't. So, all right, awesome, Dan. I see you there.
So we're back. So you guys can see my screen, okay?
Yep.
All right, guys. So what you're looking at here is, the back end machine of the Fusion agency, right? So every time a client comes in, this is the template they get assigned, and our whole process, the whole methodology here is that we need things to be simple. They need to be systemized and scalable. And the only way to do that is if you have a set series of steps, checklists. So this is using a software known as ClickUp. It's not our software, but it's one that we really enjoy using for fulfilling our clients. And as you see here, we have lists of all kinds of things. So we onboard the client. We have technical SEO for the client. So I've got the whole thing expanded here. So what you're looking at, so this would be known as a list Then we have our tasks. Inside of each task is a set of subtasks. And inside of there may be a video, there may be, more instructions on how to do it. But then you also have little bits here to check off for your checklist. Okay, we need to make sure we add a Google Analytics pixel to the Google Tag Manager account, right? So you're not just going in blind for a new client every time. You have a client this week, client next week, client 5 months from now. You're doing the same process each and every time. So what does that do, guys? It eliminates the guesswork, and it allows you to have predictable results based on proven past methods that work. And that's what this is.
I definitely want to jump in here because there's so much about this that's important. So you guys imagine getting a client, right? Because I got 2 SEO clients earlier this week, right? So I get the sale, and then all I do when I get the sale is I send a message to my project manager, Adriana, and I say, hey, we just got this customer. They want a $1,000 per month SEO package, and please onboard them. And so she goes through this process right here. Mine's a little different. The way I have it, the different pieces, but and I'm not using ClickUp myself, which I'm moving over to now that I have access to this. But the process is the same. So I want you guys to imagine that, right? You get your customer, and then you have your, somebody else. This is a goal that you can work up to if you're not already doing it. Take this entire checklist, this protocol basically, and implement it. And I just send an email to the customer with my project manager CC'd on it. And I say, hey, this is Adriana. She's my project manager. She's going to get a little more information about from you. And that's like the website information, etc. And we're going to get started. And so for me, that's basically it. Like, that's all I do every month for $1,000. And my team, Adriana, and whoever else I have doing this stuff, does everything else. So
and you could think of this. I always like to call this a recipe. I mentioned that inside of the Fusion group. Like, this is a recipe, and it's not just any recipe. This is your great grandma's like hidden away special lasagna recipe that only like 2 people ever got to see, right? That that is the amount of work and love that went into this guideline recipe to provide good fulfillment for clients.
So Cameron just I saw a Slack notification popped up. He said, Nick, we can see you screenshotting Dan's ClickUp setup.
What? Hide it.
I was definitely taking a screenshot of it. And I hope you guys were too. But just so you know, this is the way that you have a legitimate business that has, you're able to have. I mean, my margins are the same. You guys say 70% margins. I have a 70% margin on my clients as well. That's another example of me kind of getting the checks and balances. When I hear what they're doing, I know I'm doing a good job, right?
Yeah. And I mean, at that price point and that profit margin, you're still providing tremendous value. It's just that it's a highly profitable business when you get paid for what you know. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Right.
And, you can, guys, like, I know this looks like a lot in here, but guess what? Once you get this down for yourself, you can go ahead and assign this stuff to people. All right, hey, you're in charge of this now. I'm not going to assign her. She'll be like, why are you assigning that to me? But you can assign the individual task itself or even the subtask. So let's say you have another VA working for another VA, which can happen quite a bit. So you can have an individual VA do this part as opposed to someone else doing that, right? And then there's someone overall in charge of the entire task. In addition to that, we can collaborate with each other. You can tag people just the same way you would use Slack or similar tools. So very user friendly. I mean, this is built honestly to fulfill for clients, guys. I've tested quite a few things, and if you did get ClickUp, I mean, you could do the same thing in any software. This just makes it easier. But it would be a bit overwhelming without this template. I'm not going to lie. So we literally give you this folder here, and then you have all of this. And when you have a new client, all you do is just click to add or clone the existing folder, or you can actually save it as a template. So what we teach in Fusion is that after a client pays, so if it's Stripe or Better Proposal, that zaps them into a process that automatically creates the folder. So you could be asleep and wake up and see a new client folder here already. Right? That's how automated and systemized we have this thing.
I love it. So yeah, Wayne's saying so it's an SOP for SEO and this, Wayne, I think I know the answer to this. I mean, I do. This portion of it is right. What you're looking at is the SOP. But Dan, maybe you could speak to the training that also comes with the SOP a little bit.
Yeah, guys. I mean, honestly, what we just showed you is a big part of it. But there are, I think it's like 20-something plus hours of content in here on how to create your own agency, set up your own website, set up your business, how to fulfill. So let's just open up one of these, fulfillment, right? Setting up your client management system, setting up some Zapier automations. That one's 4 minutes. Let me see, this one was 44 minutes, right? So the video length is appropriate depending on the task. There's not fluff in there. It's quick and to the point if it can be. If it can't be, then it's 30 minutes long, as this one is, about building your onboarding form in Zapier so that it automatically gets pushed into ClickUp, right? So we're trying to build a way that is just systemized and simple, because as you start out slow, that's fine, but ultimately you want to scale. And if you're going to scale, you need to have these things in place. Otherwise, you're going to be pulling your hair out trying to play catch up, right? So we're setting it up right the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so there's also, not only is there training on all of the technical parts of the process, like all those bullet points, you basically teach them how to do it, and then that way they can take that information and outsource it to somebody else, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much right in a nutshell, Nick. Is I recommend doing it for yourself to know, kind of like working your way up a corporate chain. You got to be the janitor before you're the CEO here.
Yeah. The only difference is it doesn't take you 5-10 years. It can take you, you know, if you commit to it. And I mean, you guys, I had my agency pulling in, 6 figures within pretty much the first year. I mean, before I even registered the LLC, I was making 6 figures, and there's no BS there. You guys know that, while, building other businesses as well. And Dan, how many clients do you guys have right now?
So with my brother, we have 82 or 83 in one agency, and we recently started.
That's crazy.
A niche agency like probably 6 months ago now.
Wow.
And we've already got, I think, 15 clients or 16 clients, something like that, in that agency.
Wow. That's amazing. So actually, that brings up a good point too. So in Fusion, in the members area, not only do you do the technical stuff, give them the SOP on how to do everything, implement everything, but is there training on how they can get more clients, how they can sell the clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eric and Michael specifically. So Eric was on the Fusion call, and he has that sales call, and he's actually giving away that full transcript of him setting up the demo call and then the follow-up call afterwards. So he sets it up. The guy's very reluctant to even book the call. Eric was able to. It's really the script that he has, and that really hits all those key points. And I don't know NLP enough to know if that's what he was hitting. Tom, you mentioned that there were some nuances of it in there. So perhaps, that's baked in without him even realizing it, because he comes from a very well-trained sales background, from big Dirty Dinosaurs, right? He worked for a Dirty Dinosaur marketing agency to learn the sales tactics. It just so happens that he's now using his powers for good.
Yeah, well, and he probably, he may or may not realize he's doing those things. And I found that, like, even reading those books on NLP, it's like that book particular is about framing, which is a huge part of the sales process, right? When you're talking to a potential prospect or customer, you're trying to frame the conversation to, make them believe a certain way. And so there's only so many ways to do that, and proven things about human behavior that allow you to do that. So yeah, I know it's in there.
Yeah. We even have a website in here as well. So if people are like, oh, I don't know what website template I can use for my website, we give you one that we've used for our agency. We actually have I'm sorry, what?
I was just say there he is. That's Eric. That's the guy that, he crushes it when it comes to Yeah. with selling, and he's such a, I mean, he just, you wouldn't even expect it. You know what I mean? It's like it's when we had that call the other day and I got to listen in on some of it. I mean, I picked up so much information too. So, actually that's probably a good cue, Tom, because we're coming up on the top of the hour. Maybe you could put that link for those of you that are interested in hearing more about that session that we had on Wednesday. Link on the screen right there. I would say open that up in a tab, pause it, save it, don't let it play, because also I want to kind of go through our bonuses that we have. Dan, did you have something else you wanted to share on your screen before I took it over?
No, you're welcome to take it over. I was just going to highlight this is a particularly fun segment here that sometimes we'll tell people to start with when they first join Fusion. And basically it's just Eric getting on one-on-one with myself and Joe, and he's just and Greg as well, where he's just pretty much grilling us in terms of, it's almost like a beatdown where he's trying to get information out of us to make sure this stuff actually works. So he's taken the approach of just somebody who knows sales and only sales and zero SEO, and he's pretty much interviewing us. Joe actually gets upset because he just keeps beating him down with questions, and Joe was just legitimately upset with Eric after that.
That's so funny because sometimes because it's probably because he knew what he was doing and he didn't like it. That happens to me
for sure.
Well, okay, so you guys, Dan also mentioned a couple of the other coaches, which are, I mean, the top SEOs in the industry, world class, and those are. I'm super proud to say it. Those are your coaches in Fusion, and being part of our community, we're able to bring you into that community. So it's a privilege for me to be able to say that, because it was the one that really helped me to get my start with SEO as well. And for those of you that are interested in joining Fusion, we put together a bonus package for you for sharks. It's only for sharks, right? Look at that wave there. That would be like the most mortifying wave that you ever.
That's not you surfing. I thought that
was you too.
Surfing.
What?
No, it's Dan. So we wanted to make this a no-brainer for you all. It already is a no-brainer. Go to that page and you'll see why. But one of the key leads that we have found, the most profitable leads that we have found in terms of SEO, was finding businesses that don't have claimed Google My Business listings. When we're talking about local SEO, it almost always starts with, obviously they have to have a website, but really the next thing that they need is to have a Google My Business listing, right? So they get the pin on the map. That's really important for local SEO, especially. I'm not talking about national stuff. I'm talking about local, like the businesses that we mostly work with. So this software that we created has never been publicly released before. We've never done a launch behind it. We've never done any of that stuff. It's only for our exclusive private members. We are going to give anybody that joins Fusion access to a unlimited account of Google My Business Gunner. So it's unlocked. You'll be able to get unlimited searches. You don't have to pay per lead. And what it does is it goes out and it finds all the businesses that don't have claimed Google My Business listings. So you're able to shoot them an email and let them know. And you can connect those leads with your Fusion protocol strategies, SOPs, training, all that stuff. So, that tool is really awesome. And I hope you guys like it. And on top of that, we had one little thing that we wanted to do here, which I've already seen a ton of people go to this post, but we wanted to have a special Chum the Waters $500 cash giveaway. So all you have to do when you join Fusion is you go to this Facebook post, and you can see the link on the screen. It's offlinesharks.com/taco and comment on that post. You'll see that post. And what we were doing, I've already drawn 3 winners. So we've already given away $300. We're going to give away a few $100 more. So all you have to do is go to that post once you're in and comment on that post, and we will select a winner for a couple more days. And what do you say? Let's I'm going to give out a couple more prizes. So I know we said 500, but maybe we should make it. Let's make it 1,000.
Whoa.
Make it rain, Nick. Make it
Wow.
rain.
We're gonna do 1,000. So we're gonna open up a few more
Nick,
spots.
I got
for
kids
that.
to feed, man.
Oh, I gotta go to this post.
So we're
now.
gonna we're gonna open up a few more
Yikes.
spots for that that $500 giveaway. So all you have to do when you join is you go to this post in the group. You can see there's already a bunch of people here. So many other sharks have already joined this because it's an amazing program. I mean, if that isn't testament enough, like, you know, I really don't know what else is. But, you know, this strategy, this system, this group of people, you know, have helped me to build an amazing, I mean, I'll call it an SEO empire for myself because it absolutely crushes the other things I was doing for a living in terms of, I mean, I was a mechanic, right? I was making, I don't know, less than $50,000 a year and like just working my ass off. You know, I loved it. I love working on cars, but it really took that away from me. And when I started doing something like this, I mean, it gave me a lot of freedom, and I have a lot of that freedom, and I'm happy to be able to share that with you guys. So I hope you guys will, now that we're at the top of the hour, you know, go to that link, watch the training, give give it a real consideration. It's going to be open for, I think Mike said he could keep it open for a couple of more days. So it's not going to be open forever. They don't just have an open door for Fusion. You have to be invited in. And, you know, we're lucky enough to have access to these guys where we can give out some invites to our members. So go to that link, check it out, you guys. And Dan, you know, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and, you know, sharing some knowledge.
Thank you,
Dan,
Tom. Appreciate it so much. Thank you to the Offline Shark community. And, you know, I promise you guys that if you show up, if you follow and just take action on the Fusion protocol method, that you will have results. You know, so just take that for what it is, because if you show up, you will see rewards from that. I know that to be a fact.
Yeah, I agree. And what I did, you guys, you can take my action plan. Go in there, you know, join Fusion, get access to the information, and you will be blown away, number one. But then take that information and apply it to your own website. Go rank your agency, because that's what I did. I started to rank my own agency for, you know, Maui SEO. Next thing I know, I'm at the top. Leads are coming in, but I also have all this confidence for when I'm talking to businesses because I know I can already rank a site, right? I ranked my own. There was no risk in ranking my own site, but I figured it out. And, you know, that's what I would encourage you guys to do.
Yeah, such a good point. Yeah, because that confidence is everything, especially when you're first starting. So if you can do it for yourself, then you know you can do it for someone else too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things I want to clear up real quick. So when you go to this link, watch the training. The training is the call, and Dan and Eric and Mike also talk about Fusion in there. I know there's a little button below that talks about Groove. That's just because we mentioned it in the training. And so we wanted to make sure people were able to get a free account if they wanted to use Groove. You don't have to use it, but watch the training. They unveil everything about Fusion, all that stuff. They've made this thing super affordable too, just so you guys know, like, it is like crazy affordable. Like they have a couple different options. And so there's really no reason. I don't think anyone in our community or on this live right now wouldn't be able to get in. It's not going to be out of your price range. So just watch the training. That's a great training. Even if you don't get into Fusion, you're going to learn a lot from it. And yeah. So awesome. Well, Dan, thanks so much, man. Super excited to have you here. Appreciate your time and all that stuff. Nick, anything else you want to say before we close this up?
Just that I'm excited for you guys to get in. You know, it's the same path that I took, and it, you know, clearly works. So, I mean, I'm excited for you to take that same journey. Take care, everybody.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend.
You've been listening to the Sharks Live Show, your weekly local marketing jam session. Every week, packed full of local marketing strategy, tactics, tips, and fun. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. And we hope you had fun along the way. We know we did. Don't forget to leave a like on this stream. Drop a comment below and share it with anyone you think might find it useful. And if you're not already a member of the most valuable marketing group on Facebook, head over to offlinesharks.com/group to join right now for free. There's more exciting new marketing info coming at you throughout the week. Nick's YouTube video on Sundays. at nickponte.com/YouTube, and Tom's weekly podcast called What's the Secret, with a new episode each Tuesday at tomgaddis.com. And then back here next Friday for the Sharks Live Show. Till then, this is the Sharks Live Show, signing off.